sports that are very evolved, where players are dominant, much more impressive to me. So Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, them being as dominant as they were, and I'd say Djokovic in particular, because Federer did dominate before those two really came in for a bit. Djokovic is the most dominant, along with Nadal, in an era where you had a ton of good players. So that, like, I have a ton of respect for that. Or Michael Jordan, when you had an era where it was just so many good basketball players and he was still clearly the best. That's what's very impressive to me. Now that we don't have good players now, it's just we have a lot less of them, much smaller sample size. It's not saturated.
Okay, your brother Colin, how good is he? Does he get enough credit?
Does he get props? I think he gets them and he doesn't, just because, you know, we definitely from the beginning kind of built him in a sense to complement each other in a doubles game. So you are going to be extremely good at that role, and he probably does get enough credit for that role. They're just like, yeah, he plays his role with Ben amazingly, and he's not very good at other things. That's fair, because we didn't practice them. We were talking today, I practiced them this morning, is like, how many times have we, you know, dinked on the left side cross court and worked on my technique? I was like, I don't know, twice. Like it just doesn't happen. So of course you're not going to be a great left side mixed doubles player when you never practice it. That's just how it works. So I mean, I'd really just say I'm more grateful to him that he was willing to be, I'm not going to be the best player I can be. I'm going to be the best player that I can be with you. Right. I mean, you got to respect that a lot.
Right.
We're going to make the best team possible.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, is there a case to be made that that's kind of that's the answer? I mean, that should be the formula, is players should play with each other, and essentially,
if you want to be the
nobody
best
else
doubles team you can, then in theory, yes, you should be building each other, whether you build how me and Colin did or some other way. Building with each other is definitely going to be the best for you to each be the respective best player for each other.
Yeah.
On that note, all future best teams, said it on Twitter, I'll say it again, they will be righty-lefty.
Righty-lefty with
No question.
forehands in the middle?
Yes.
Do you think there's something to forehands out?
Not really. I could be wrong, but I've never seen a scenario where that is that great. But I definitely, actually, I can see it, because picture an AJ Kohler playing right side. His backhand in the middle, nasty, just flip from anywhere, right? His forehand, very lengthy on the outside, and he's great at the left side, but you can see how a player like that could be really nasty on the right side. My biggest thing is, when I try to attack through the middle, nothing closes faster than a lefty on me. And I'm just like, gosh, that's so hard to beat. And we have such a small sample size of lefties. We have like, 3 that are really good?
And never see them on the
We have like 2 in
outside.
top 20, maybe. So I think just the court coverage in such a small width of 20 feet of 2 forehands in the middle is just so obscene. It's so tough.
Yeah, so you're looking at it defensively, right? Like,
Or
recovering
shake and bake is a big
up.
one too for me. It is so difficult to play somebody that drives well with Tyler Lewing, and Tyler's crash. I'm like, I have to hit this really well.
Yeah.
Right? That there's so much more pressure of Tyler crashing than a righty with his backhand. It's immense.
I guess what I would like to see is a lefty over there hitting bounce speed ups. Like, if you're dinking your backhand to a lefty forehand over there, like, that could be an interesting opportunity to present something that other people don't see.
Yeah. So I like that view. My only issue with it is I think you get limited whenever you talk about dinking and attacking off of dinks. You are simply limited by the court and the net and how hard you can hit things. For instance, your backhand off the bounce versus anyone's forehand, it's not that far away. It's really, it's close, right? So I will take the fundamental coverage of the court over the ability to hit forehands from the outside part of the court.
True, but I think more people are generally more comfortable speeding up with the forehand than the backhand, right?
That's
most
true.
of the right-sided
Yes.
players are comfortable speeding up with their forehand.
But I do think it's easier to practice speed ups than you can get better coverage.
True. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's interesting.
I think it's worth
see.
experimentation. Like,
I agree.
Everything's worth experimenting in pickleball because we don't know anything.
But could you imagine, like, so 2 players on the right side that are playing really, really well and are just tough to play against from that side are Thomas and DJ.
Thanks.
Not you. Don't worry. But Thomas Wilson
Because they both
and
speed
DJ,
up well off the forehand.
They can speed up off the forehand, or they can really roll that dink really aggressively.
Yes, the roll dinks is an interesting thing for me because, right, you like rolling a forehand to a backhand dink wise, it is dicey, right? It's the forehand will usually win that battle. So that's where you're like, I can see what you're saying. Having forehands on the outside could be big. It's really, does that trade off with the coverage? Definitely worth experimenting because I can see that. We don't see many lefty flips from the left side, right? Off
Right.
the outside corner. That
That'd
would
be
be
like
a
the Riley Newman
strange angle.
funk,
That would
right?
be very strange. I'd be like, what's
It'd be something you don't normally see, for sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
More experiments.
More experiments. At one time, I considered, how good could I get lefty? Should I just be a right side player as a lefty?
Yeah.
Because I had lefty coordination in tennis. I was like, well, this backhand is so bad. This will never be good. Can't do it. Forget it.
Well, speaking of failed experiments,
Where are you going with this one?
Noah Rubin
Yeah.
Tough.
announced
That's tough looks.
his pickleball
And
retirement.
announced it in the weirdest way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was like, okay, here's my excuse. Here's why I think I'm better than all these people. And also, before I leave, here's why pickleball sucks right now and what it needs to do to improve.
Interesting.
Are you
I
gonna
mean,
miss
that's
him?
basically what he said.
Well, pickleball does have a lot to improve, so that's fair. He may have been correct. I don't actually know what he said. What
Did you not watch the video?
No.
I mean, you would just have to watch it.
People are
but-
giving him flack. I didn't think it was as bad as you're portraying it. Like he said, there are things that pickleball needs to work on. There are things that pickleball is copying from tennis that probably aren't admirable qualities of tennis.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think there were some fair takes, and I think there's maybe some things that he might have left out about his pickleball career that were probably.
Well, that's my point. It
information.
just seemed like this big excuse, like him dancing around the fact that he's not there as a player.
I think that's all speculation. I can't.
Right,
I
and
can't
whether
read
that's
his
true
mind.
or not,
I
Well,
don't
we're
know.
asking you to
off.
speculate.
Speculate. I mean,
you don't have to
it is
speculate.
tougher to get results quickly than you think. I will say that.
Especially in doubles.
Very much so.
Yeah. Do you think the barrier to entry in doubles is too high right now?
No, not
It's
at
too
all.
substantial
No,
if you're
no, you
switching into
can-
the sport?
You can be a top 10 player within 2 years if you have. I mean,
Yeah.
Ignatovich, 2
Mhm.
years, done.
Mhm.
I mean, his first tournament was probably a year ago. He's top 10.
Mhm.
That's a really low barrier, absurdly low barrier.
Mm-hmm.
What qualities about James do you think led to him getting so good so quickly?
He's quick. He's long. Has learned how to play aggressively. I think he has a very good two-handed backhand, which on the guy's side has been a development that definitely helps. And I think he learned how to speed up and identify patterns with speed ups quickly, which is one of the barriers that a lot of tennis players struggle with, is the pattern recognition, because it's not what you're used to. So he adapted to the patterns very quickly, I think, and I think that it helped him that he tried to play as much as he possibly could with a lot of different players and tournaments. That's how you learn stuff quickly, and he did a great job of that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that one of the things that struck me obviously was he's long, he's fast, but like ever since he started playing, he got a volley. That thing was a rocket ship. Like he has easier power
Heavy
than
hands.
anybody that I've seen.
Definitely heavy hands. Yeah. And I find it interesting that he will often sit one-handed backhand on counters to his body and then go to a two-hander when you get into more firefights, which is, I definitely think, like one of the kind of adaptations we were talking about, where that may be a play that you're going to see more and more often just because of how efficient it is. Like, I don't think you get a ton of power here with a two-handed backhand. With the one, he sticks it nicely. With the high fading one over here, he goes to the two, and those are ideal scenarios where you want to be doing those things. And he'll also do like a severe continental grip on the one-handed counter, so it gets down on the backhand, and then that allows his forehand to be kind of like AJ, where he can cup it like a holster down here with the forehand.
he kind of catches
So
it back
the
behind him a little
coverage
bit.
is really important because of how he uses his grips plus his two-handed backhand.
Interesting. What do you got, Tommy?
I don't know.
You don't know? All right. Well, Thomas wrote a question on here that isn't my question.
Yeah, ask my questions for me.
Yeah, I will. Apparently, I got to do your job for you. What's
You're
up
doing
with
a good
being
job,
a
leading. You
slow
did the intro.
starter?
A slow starter? Yeah, I don't wake up early naturally. I don't have a lot of energy early. I play slow, and I also have a thing about energy conservation.
Must be nice.
I just, especially even though I don't have a lot of energy early, when I'm playing a tournament day outside of a final, I know that I need to play other matches. I have many days ahead of me, and I will play slow on purpose and not move a lot because you have to conserve. And maybe the ideal athlete is able to just go full tilt the whole time. I'm not that. I wish I could, but I don't. So yeah, I definitely conserve sometimes. Slow starter, other than that, just takes me a while to get a feel for everything. Like pickleball to me is very much like a flow sport where I'm in the flow. I can feel where I need to be at what time. That's super important. And hitting my shots feels natural. Hesitation is really bad for me. So it just takes me a while to get into that kind of groove, basically.
So you think the slow starter criticism is pretty fair? I mean, you recognize that in yourself.
That's just statistics. Like I lose the first game like more than anybody.
Right. Yeah.
That's bad.
So how do you overcome that? I mean, do you think